Is Final Fantasy VII worth playing now in 2018? For me, that question is like asking if Pac-Man is worth playing now, or Tetris, or Space Invaders, or even Pong, and therefore my answer to the question would be yes, because it is a classic of the genre, and while being a classic of a genre doesn't necessarily mean that everyone who comes to it now, new for the first time, is going to automatically love it. I would say it is a reason to try something new and to play something or to, see something you haven't seen before, because of the fact that it is held up as an example of that genre, as, one of the leading lights, one of the classics of that genre. If you take a film, for example, you wouldn't ask if Citizen Kane is worth watching just because it came out in 1941, because of course it's worth watching. It's a classic and an inspiration for so many things that followed, and that doesn't necessarily mean, again, that people who watch Citizen Kane now will be amazed by it or will love it or will find something incredible in it because they might have seen it elsewhere, but it still means that it is a classic of the genre for a lot of reasons, and therefore still worth being watched for the first time and still worth being studied. If you take a work of literature as another example, such as War and Peace, which came out in 1867, again that's held up as one of the greatest literary works of all time. Now that doesn't necessarily mean, again, that someone coming to it brand new now in 2018 is going to find anything revelationary or revolutionary in it. It's still worthy of being talked about, being studied and being read, because it is one of the the leading lights of literature from that time and from any time, and it's still worthy of being talked about. And now that's not to say that everyone who plays FF7 for the first time now is going to enjoy it. Many people do love Final Fantasy VII and will forever place it as number one in their list of their favourite games ever. You also have to acknowledge on the other side that a lot of people will also hate the game, and that could be for a couple of different reasons, either because they genuinely do hate it and dislike playing it, or because it was ruined for them and overhyped for them before they even got around to playing it, meaning it could never live up to the expectations that they already had in their mind for what it could offer them, and therefore it was always going to be a disappointment. However, when addressing the question of is Final Fantasy VII worth playing today or not, I think it's important to weigh up the pros and cons of actually playing it. I will attempt to do that quickly in this little Final Fantasy VII review. So what are the main reasons to play the game? Well, first of all, I need to be honest and say I'm of course extremely biased, given that FF7 was the first game I ever played upon its actual launch on the PlayStation, but personally I'd say there are a lot of things that make it a great game and a lot of good reasons to play it. It has a fantastically rich storyline that starts off as something simple, or quite simple, before evolving into something much more complex, and something constantly changing and evolving that draws in the very future of the planet, the very nature of the future of the planet. The characters have a lot of backstory to them and constantly change and develop, and of course that's complemented by amazing music, amazing design and location design, and exploring the world, and a wonderful, fantastic battle system at the very heart of it. However, on the flip side of that, there are cons to playing the game, or what people would see as cons of playing the game. Of course, the graphics do suck by today's standards, but what would you expect from a 21-year-old game? If you held up any game from that era and compare it to what exists now, it's going to look extremely different, extremely basic, and that's because it's separated by, a generation or two in terms of the graphical advancement that's happened in that time. So while a lot of people may not be able to get over that and just may not be able to play something that is literally quite blocky in its appearance, I will not say that that is a reason to hate the game. It might be a con for some people, but what else would you expect? And another reason is probably because, let's face it, it might already have been spoiled for a lot of people who haven't played it. It is a classic game, and if you're into gaming or into playing RPGs or JRPGs, the chances are you will have seen a lot of footage from Final Fantasy VII, you would have seen cutscenes, you would know about things that happen in the game and major twists and turns, and so if you're coming to it brand new expecting there to be even more than that, to be something that you haven't seen before from it, then you may be disappointed in that aspect. You may not get more from it. You may already have had the story actually pretty much not completely broken down for you, but the key elements of the story you may already know. Now, whether that's an issue for you or not, whether you just want to play it and experience it, again, is up to you to decide, but for a lot of people, they might actually know what Final Fantasy VII is. And of course, there is also the prospect of a remastered version coming in the form of Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now, when that's actually going to be, launched is anyone's guess, but if you've come this far, if you've lasted 21 years without playing the original, then, whether it takes 5 years, 10 years, 100 years, or whatever, before that launch, that remake has actually comes to fruition, then maybe it's just worth waiting until whenever it happens, and getting that new experience, with the new graphics, the new music, ironing out any issues in the original story or any flaws, or sorting out any of the kind of translation issues that did exist in the original. Then maybe it is just waiting until that day, waiting until it happens, and then experiencing brand new on a brand new platform, which could be the PS5. Then maybe it's just worth waiting to see what that is going to to look like, rather than kind of going back to the original and potentially spoiling it, waiting to see what the fresh version could be like and what you get from that instead. And then of course there is the issue of if you want to go back and play the actual true original version for the PlayStation, you'll actually have to find a copy of that, and that might be easier said than done depending on how much money you have, or if you have a PlayStation 1 or where you live. And of course there are other re-released versions that have been re-released in the intervening years, but if you want to go back to the absolute original version, then you may have trouble doing that. So again, ultimately, you'll probably never know if Final Fantasy VII is worth buying and playing now in 2018 unless you actually do go ahead and play it. You'll be the one making up your own mind about what you get from it and whether you do actually enjoy it. You know, you could see everyone else's videos about why they loved it, and there's probably just as many about why people hated it and thought it was completely overhyped and ruined for them and just not a good game. But again, until you actually go and experience it yourself, you will never know whether you enjoy it or not. So I would say, of course, yes, it is worth playing, but that will come down to whether you enjoy games of that type and whether you get involved in the story and whether it is a brand new experience for you. Now, if you are one of the millions of people who have already played Final Fantasy VII, tell me, do you love it or do you hate it? Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are about the game and whether you would actually recommend or not to someone who has never played it, whether they should pick it up now in 2018 and actually start playing it for the first time. And if you do like this video or you do enjoy watching this video, please like and subscribe below so that you get notified whenever there is anything new on this channel. But until next time, thanks for watching.